It's a little low today, the volume. Uh-huh.
Ready? Welcome, welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program. Today's Saturday. And remember, one Saturday come, Studio Galaxy 473 in Canfaro is on the road. And you have the opportunity to participate in our program, to contribute and to share. We have the agriculture program. Joshua and I on the program today. And remember, the topic we're using today, the blue economy, is a waste of time. Why? The blue economy is a waste of time. Why?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a challenge sometimes as policymakers speak about things in dramatic and glowing terms. And it seems that it's never able to filter on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
The practicality,
Yep.
the implementation,
Mm-hmm.
the workability on the ground
Uh-huh.
must be clear and dramatic
Mm-hmm.
in the same way as the stakeholders express it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have an opportunity to share our program, like our program, and subscribe to Studio Galaxy 473. Remember, we are the new kids on the block. When we speak about agriculture, we provoke discussion. We make suggestions. We give advice. We don't have answers, but we believe we have the ability to address the challenges. Joshua, the blue economy.
Yes, morning, Mr. Pierre and Gates, and all of you in the diaspora worldwide, especially those at home here in Grenada. Thank you all for listening, and let's hope you have the courage to phone in and make your contribution this morning. The blue economy. I like to kind of put things in context before I start. We still have turmoil in terms of the USA and the trade war going on, and people are still unsettled in terms of all of that. Now, the blue economy, what does it mean? What the blue economy? I have a little idea, but sometimes we use these terms and the vast majority of us don't know what it means. Mr. Pierre, you could help us in terms of what this blue economy means?
And that is what is sad and unfortunate.
Mm.
I think it was Gresham Institute that came up with this term,
Mm.
blue economy.
Uh-huh.
And all it means is the economic activity associated with the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it means.
Uh-huh.
Economic activity associated with the ocean.
Yeah.
So 3 million years ago, we had the blue economy.
Yes.
Fish normally don't come out in the land. Yes, we were fishing pond, but man has been fishing since the world started. So we always had the blue economy.
Yeah.
So when our politicians speak in this dramatic fashion, without explaining to people, we are speaking about economic activities that come from the ocean.
Yeah.
I think they say 76% of the world is water.
Yeah.
So obviously, that is it. That is basically it.
Yeah, and we'll break it down a little bit further to talk about the sectors that are involved in the blue economy as we go on to. But I think the seductive bit about the blue economy is this. You will always hear, ministers talking about, for example, in Grenada, you'll hear them saying, our sea and that we have control over is 77 times the size of our land. Well, it makes sense that we develop the sea and the blue economy. And I'm thinking when I'm hearing that, so we walking on water now, because my issue is I'm very much a lover of agriculture. We haven't fixed agriculture. If anything, agriculture is declining. We haven't fixed the infrastructure in agriculture. We don't have a plan for agriculture. Now we're onto the blue economy. I'm not against the development of the blue economy. And as Mr. Pierre was trying to indicate, the blue economy has always been there, so it's not something new that we're bringing in. It might be a new word, a new buzzword, and it might be a new cell in terms of 77 times the size of Grenada is what the blue economy is. But I don't see anybody going into the sea and walking, for 200-300 miles in the sea.
Yeah, and that is what is sad, because when you say things, you must make your people understand what it's all about, and even ideas could come from your people, how we develop it. It seems as though Grenadians sit on waiting for the blue economy.
Yeah.
Well, the blue economy ain't coming.
Yeah.
The blue economy is there.
Yes,
One of the benefits right now, one of the things we have now, we export fish. Fish brings in a significant sum in terms of the returns from agriculture, and fish come from the sea.
Yeah.
And we have market for fish.
Yeah.
So if the government is speaking about the blue economy, all the government is speaking about is the economic activities associated with the ocean, the sea, and the coastal region.
Yeah. Mr. Pierre, let me try and break it down a little bit smaller in terms of for the audience. So essentially, we have these kind of subsector groups. So we have tourism. Now, in tourism, we have a lot of coastal hotels. Not all hotels are on the coast, and what's associated with the hotel, and they will tell you, oh, it generates like 2,000 or 3,000 jobs and all the rest of it. We have, as Mr. Pierre was saying, the fishing, where we have to do the secondary processing with the fishing. Fishermen catch, brings it in, and we catch it. As well as the fishing, there is something that being done all over the world, that is research in terms of the algae and other fish product under the sea, to see how medically it can help humans in terms of cures, etc. So that's more of a research and development kind of stuff. The next one we have is transportation. A lot of you, when you hear the word blue economy, you'll take it for granted. Well, you have the steamships going up and down and all the rest of it. Well, that's part of the blue economy as well. Then we have the resources like oil and gas and wind power. That's part of that blue economy in terms of you would have seen pictures in different parts of the world with wind farms in the sea, etc. So there's possibility for those things in terms of energy generation. In terms of there's also kind of, you would hear people talk about specialist jobs in terms of technicians, etc. in terms of consultant, in terms of see things, and people say, oh, the Sargasson, we could turn that into a magic money-making kind of enterprise by collecting the Sargasson at sea and then processing it into fertilizer, etc. And all of that is true, but those take time. What we should be doing now is taking a practical approach. A lot of the farmers will say with the Sargasson, their land doesn't have enough salt on it or whatever. So as long as they do their test and they know that they need it, what we should be doing as a practical something is get the truck to bring the Sargasson to the farms who request it, who want it. So it has immediate use. So when we talk about research and development, quite often we're looking at 2 to 3 years down the road before you see anything, and by that time, 10% of our population has died, because our farmers tend to be in the group that's the departure long group. They're waiting to depart. So we have to take a sensible, practical approach. Anyway, those are the ones that I remember in terms of the blue economy. There might be more, and if it comes to mind during the program, I'll share it. So
that's why we take objection when government talking about the blue economy. The government is with drama, as if it's something that have to come from away. No, the fishing industry is involved in the blue economy.
Yeah.
It is economic activities associated with the ocean. Special emphasis is placed on it to encourage governments to develop the economic activities associated with the sea. Well, United States and China and other developed countries might put a lot of boats and etc. We're not able to do that. Some countries might bring able to trap energy from the waves. We're not able to do that yet. But we have fish. We could hold more fish.
Yes.
We could go and have discussion with the fishermen. We have a market to export fish to the United States. And the quality of the fish that we exporting is not 100%. That is what I heard.
Yeah.
And secondly, the quantity.
Yeah.
So we need to increase the quantity and increase the quality.
Yeah.
And that is blue economy.
Yeah. And so we upgrade our fish processing facilities, and that needs to be done.
And that is blue economy.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things we haven't done, and we do a lot of what I call sustainable fishing practice. Not by design, it's simply we don't have the money to invest in the big boats to go out there and catch ton loads of fish. But we could do something in terms of what they tend to have in the bigger country or the Asian countries. They have like what they call like a mothership, and that ship is in the ocean. It's there, and you have the little vessels. They all go and they catch and they bring it and they process the fish in the sea, and it's nice and fresh and everything else.
Now, we might not be able to do that. We don't have to do what Japan do. We don't need no big set of money for the blue economy. But this group of people that we have, not only in Grenada, when we're speaking, we don't speak about Grenada alone. In some of the Caribbean too, we have some intellectuals that dramatizing blue economy. But 5-10 years, they're not doing nothing.
Yeah,
You can't see the blue don't even turn in yellow.
Yeah.
So what we need to do, you have CMOS farm.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
That is the blue economy.
Yes.
And you have market for CMOS. You may want to send 1 container CMOS to China every month. You know? So you say, okay, how many farmers involved in CMOS? The initial cost to get involved in CMOS production is not very high. Some of the farmers who are involved in the program, they can't get workers. Because once you talk about the seed, you have a criteria you must have. What is the criteria you must have once you talk about the seed?
You have to swim.
You have to swim. So if you're serious about accessing, increasing, making more money from the sea, 80% of Grenadians cannot swim. Let me repeat that. 80% of Grenada cannot swim. So anybody that wants to develop the blue economy must develop. It must be people could swim.
Yeah, but I blame the girls and the women for this swim business. They don't want to get their hair wet. They just want to model on the on the beach.
Well, they can't swim when they go in water. When you see people on the beach in Grenada, the majority of them is on the sand.
Yeah.
They're modeling around. They have their camera. They have their cell phone.
Yeah.
They have an opportunity to look at the type
selfies.
of back trunk and clothes they have.
Yeah.
Some of them have big back towel around them. Because if they go in the sea, they could drown. So if the people in the OECS in particular interested in the blue economy, one of the first things you have to do,
teach the people to swim.
Teach the people to swim. Because already, we are already in the blue economy.
Yeah,
but emphasis is placed that we can make much more money from the sea.
And it's said as though it's something new. That
Yes.
that is the thing.
When you hear it about blue economy, you think that goes in China and America.
Yeah.
And everybody waiting to see this blue economy.
Yeah. And Mr. Pierre, I want to just kind of say something about control of the blue economy and the money that comes from the blue economy. I know sometimes I use terms that people are not that familiar with because it's not widely used. I want to talk about decolonization, of
With the sea.
With the sea.
Go right ahead.
Right. I've noticed, I've been a traveler most of my life because one of the things I was told at a very young age, you can get education from, schooling or university and travel. So I traveled a lot because I was lazy in terms of the academic stuff, sitting in the classroom. I got bored very easily. And one of the things that I noticed in my travels, whether it was in Mauritius or whether it was in East Africa, etc., the real big money making enterprises tended to be controlled by the Europeans. So, for example, the rental of the yachts, you never or seldom see a local in control of the yachting business in terms of renting out the yachts, collecting the insurance, etc. And I think we have to be careful in terms of the systems that we set up, that we don't replicate a colonial system in the blue economy. So, for example, diving, which is one of the big things in the blue economy, and that can generate a lot of money. When you look at who owns the diving school, it's seldom, if ever, do I see a Grenadian with a diving school. And that generates, again, a lot of money. When I look at the little tours going to the Grenadines or going to Carriacou on the boats, etc., again, it's not locally owned. It seems to be that this type of kind of businesses is well known to the Europeans. It's well practiced maybe in Italy or Sicily or whatever, and so they have more experience. Now, government have to take these things into consideration. What I would do is go back to the past. In the past, to have a business like that, you had to have 49% Grenadian ownership involved in that business. And although I think it may not be the ideal model, but I think it will help in terms of the whole decolonization process. Because what you don't want is to create a system where it becomes another extraction system where the people, the foreign direct people, they all come with their tried and tested kind of businesses, and these businesses require like 200,000 US to start up, and they're there. The locals can't even get a look in because the locals quite often don't even have $200 to kind of stick in. So we need to look at these impediments that hold us back. There are societies where money flow. One of the things I do know about Grenada is money doesn't flow. Money seems to, like, once you give it to somebody, it disappears. It doesn't come back to you. It doesn't flow. One of the great things about America when I'm in New York is that, money flows in New York. Money's, money's like love going around all the time. And I don't want us to kind of create that same system where we tie our own hands behind our back in the blue economy.
Well,
Go on.
if the government, if the authorities that the government is to continue to talk about blue economy as if it's something you have to bring from China, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
What they have to, when they're speaking about blue economy, the economic activities associated with the ocean, the sea, and the coastal region. That is what the blue economy is all about. So the man who want to do CMOS, you invest in CMOS. And it is not very expensive to start a CMOS farm. And you invest in that. So the individual know that fish, we are already holding fish, but we have a foreign market for fish. The development of the local market depends on our taste.
Yeah.
Whether we want to eat more fish or more macaroni pie. It's simple.
Yeah.
So you determine how CMOS. But do you have an export market for CMOS? Then perhaps ask China. Because you want to relate to China, and your main source of your economy is at the goodwill of the Americans and Europe. So maybe you start to export. You're working to export 1 container load of CMOS to China every month.
Yeah.
Well, if they want to go far, sometimes countries want to go far.
Yeah.
And it's simple. You have crab. Trinidad, we cannot supply Trinidad with crab.
Enough crabs.
So the improving crab farming is the blue economy.
Yeah.
You see, we have to get this thing out of our head.
Yeah.
That a blue economy is something abstract. That's something you have to bring down, export to develop.
Yeah, and one of the things I like to do, Mr. Pierre, is to see what's existing in terms of Grenada and how we can link it up. Sometimes we complain because we say it doesn't exist. It's not that things don't exist, it's we haven't linked it up. Now, you and I spoke earlier on this morning. No, maybe myself and Royal Edwards spoke earlier on this morning, and he was saying there's the passport people having a conference or a talk or something on Tuesday in terms of investment, local investors kind of benefiting from the CBI project. And you have to be able to link up all those things, because although you talk about CMOS and crabs, my attention, I want to go on the Sunset Cruise and the big boat, that costs big money. When my friends come down, I want to say we're going on the Sunset Cruise. And so I don't want these cruises and them to be totally in the hands of kind of foreigners, because why? We can't raise the money. We don't have enough money to buy the vessel. So these are the practical little things that, annoy me. And people would say to me, yeah, Joshua, you're begrudging the man. The man is his money. He buys his boat and he come down. But it doesn't really work like that. Certain people, have hundreds and hundreds of years of start on Caribbean people. I mean, if you look at the Caribbean economy, most of the economy, the people who control it, have inherited those parts of the business. We don't really have big business in Grenada, but banking, insurance, you look at the car companies and them. All of them, you look at the ownership of those things. It's old families who control Grenada, who still control these parts of our economy. So how do we diversify our economy? We have the blue economy, and all I'm saying is let's look at how we can include our local people as investors in the blue economy. Let the CBI people think about how do I link local investors with the blue economy. Let's not make it a problem. If we can kind of complete the circle, I think we have a chance. But far too often I see an apartheid system being set up in the Caribbean or in Africa, whereby you have investors coming in with their money. They claim the best part of the country, and the locals are there walking behind them, hoping to get a piece of bread in their mouth.
Well, obviously, if we continue to speak about the blue economy as something abstract, as something we have to get experts from a way to develop, that is going to happen to us.
Yeah.
Because if our people don't believe in generational wealth and they don't believe in improving what they have, our people seems to be more preoccupied with having a lot of certificate and looking for a job.
Or traveling away.
So now we must say to people, all the nice you hear about blue economy is the economic activities associated with the ocean, the sea, and the coastal region. We are already involved in fish. We involved in sea moss. On the coast, we do crab. So we could do some training and education for the people who are involved in crab and let them start to farm crab.
And not too far we do a big wind farm, right on the coast.
So we have to, when you ask a farmer, a fisherman about the blue economy, he believes it's something you're bringing on a battleship. Because the ministers themselves or the stakeholders, they speak about the blue economy almost in an abstract way. But Joshua, I asked the question before. What are one of the basic requirements you must have to work with the blue economy?
Well, I think you have to be good looking and a good swimmer.
How could we enhance the activities in the sea when 80% of our people cannot swim?
I just like to see them on the beach, man,
well,
strutting their stuff.
Well, I know you only want to see the women on the beach, not the men.
When I'm looking at the men.
After we watch the women on the beach, we go with the men cooking.
Oh, yes.
Men love to cook on the beach.
Yeah.
So, the people who are involved in the blue economy, we're making suggestions here too. We provoke it. This thing is no hard and fast. We're provoking discussion. We want the average farmer, the average person in Grenada to know exactly what is the blue economy when they're speaking about it and how can I get involved. Some of you are involved already. If you're involved in crab farming, blue economy. If you sea moss, blue economy. If you're holding fish, blue economy. If you're making boats, blue economy. If you're walking in the marina, blue economy. If you understand, if you're running a swimming program in the sea, blue economy. So we believe
we're well into it.
one of the first rules is to encourage more of your people to swim. Not us here. We're talking go in the schoolhouse, in the primary school,
Not us
and
here.
make certain that almost everybody who exit from the school in the next 10 years would be able to swim.
Yeah.
So there'll be more Grenadians come out in Monks and Catherine and Birch Grove who will go and work in the mariners
Yeah.
because they could swim.
Yeah. Yeah.
We might have more water sports too.
Yeah, and Mr. Pierre, I went to school in London, primary school, and part of the whole curriculum was swimming. Secondary school, the same thing. I mean, we're not seeing the sea, we're not seeing a beach. You know, we had the River Thames, but nobody would go in that because they would die within a matter of a minute or two because of the pollution. But almost everybody in London can
Not
swim.
in Grenada. They afraid you will drown. The principals of the school afraid the children will drown.
Yeah.
So even when they go on the beach, they're warning them, don't go in the water. And you always
Okay.
have one or two boys and a few girls break the rules and they punish. They're afraid
Yeah.
you go in the water and you're going to drown.
Yeah.
So this is a
A
mental
cultural thing.
paralysis.
Yeah.
We have
Silly.
to change that.
Mhm.
Teach our children to swim.
Yeah.
The sea is about 30 minutes walk away from the 40 spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
About 30 minutes walk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays you have so much of vehicle. So how many swimming clubs we have? Do we have swimming clubs in Subies and Mackey and Paul's and
Yeah.
Victoria
Yeah.
and St. John
Yeah.
and Concord?
Yeah. But what was interesting for me in terms of this swimming thing is Grenada have a swim team, you know. But when I looked at the swim team, it almost looked as though all the participants or the swimmers were people who were from away living in Grenada, either teaching or something. They looked rather pale, the swimming team. You know, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I actually think it's a good thing. If the local Grenadians are not filling the gap, well, they're free to fill the gap. But I agree with what Mr. Pierre is saying, and the serious point, which is, you know, for an island, we have to have swimming as part of our curriculum.
You have policemen that can swim.
Oh God!
Yeah.
I tell you, sometimes they teach them and they try. But from the time they pass the course, not them again. So we have a phenomenon in Grenada called phobia of the sea. So we have to break that phenomenon. And the best way to break phenomenon is to go into schoolhouse
Yeah.
and teach children to swim.
Yeah.
All these bad behaved people we have, if they're gonna swim, you know,
Yeah.
people, you know, it's something have to be wrong. We have to want to change the psychic, the mentality.
There's so
the
much to
attitude
change.
of our people.
There's so much.
Let's start
to
with
change.
swimming now.
No, gosh, yes.
You don't jumping up about blue economy. That is why we see the blue economy is a waste of time. And we say, why? It seems as if when they speak about the blue economy,
We inventing
it's something,
something.
abstract.
Yeah.
It's something you have to bring coming Grenada. We are already involved in the
The
blue economy.
Yeah.
Tell the people that now.
Yeah. And the other thing, when they have a conference on the blue economy, if you go to the conference, you see like, you know, 2/3 of the people are from away.
Bad-minded. They're bad-minded.
They're getting a trip to come here on blue economy.
Talk about blue economy. The blue economy, the blue economy is economic activities associated with the ocean. And you want to go and use the ocean in a sustainable way.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
So we are already doing fishing.
Mhm.
And we have a market to
Yeah.
sell fish that we cannot satisfy. Grenada very lucky. We could sell fish away. And if
Yeah.
you use a boat, like when Green is green that make the first chocolate in Grenada.
Mm.
And he took a boat to bring it on a yacht to bring it in Europe.
Oh, Mott.
Mott green.
Yeah.
That is blue economy again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you hear the minister talking about blue economy, the minister just speaking as if it's a book you read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Drama.
Mm-hmm.
But it lacks practicality.
Yeah.
Nothing is said to reach our people.
Yeah, well, let's hope the fishing facilities get upgraded. Let's hope that they do some secondary processing. Let's hope that they do some training with farmers, fisher folks. And let's hope that we can kind of get better attitudes in terms of our vendors when selling, because better attitude means you'll sell more.
If we hope plenty, so then we end up in map. I believe in hoping.
Yeah.
But while we're hoping, we have to make our people understand that when the authorities that be speaking about blue economy, what they are saying is the economic activities associated with the ocean, the sea, and the coastal region that allows resources use while we preserve the sustainability. That's all it means.
Yeah.
So we are already involved in the blue economy through the activities of the fishing industry.
Yeah. And apparently Grenada has an MOU, and sometimes I feel in terms of Grenada that, information belongs to the actual government and not the people, so information is not shared. I made several requests for the MOU that came out of China to see what they were, but I never got one response with we have 14 MOU and this and this and that. And I think that culture has to be changed from government as well, because if you're representing the people, you can't decide what's best for the people. The people has to be involved in terms of those decision making. So the MOU that you have, let us kind of have an understanding of how it's going to benefit the nation and the people. You have a whole team of specialists that are part of the team, PS and technical advice and all. Let them come on programs like this to share the knowledge with the local people. At the moment it feels like if it's a select group of people who come on TV and they chat and they reach their government audience, but are they reaching the people that they really need to reach? And I know lots of people like to go on programs that are based in America, and the people are based in America or whatever. But at the end of the day, the local podcasts that are based in Grenada is what's going to develop Grenada. It's your local people. Don't go and think, oh well, I'm going to take the invitation to go to speak on a podcast that's being produced from New York, and the one that's being produced in Paraclete or Subsectors or whatever is a waste of time. So we never get to hear you. This kind of classism and this kind of way of thinking, I think in 2025, it needs to be killed. It needs to be killed dead.
And we do hope we start the process of killing it.
Yes.
If the authorities that be speaking about the blue economy, ask them, give me 5 things are you doing for the blue economy now. One of the things we insist government should refocus on is the fish that we are exporting. We already have a market to export fish. We cannot satisfy the market in quantity, and even our quality is suspect. So that must be addressed. We have CMOS doing well. We must target to export 1 container load of CMOS a month.
Yeah.
So obviously, for you to do that, you have to blue economy, increase the quantity and the amount and quality
And
of
awareness.
CMOS
Yeah.
and awareness.
Yeah.
In addition to that, the CMOS people want workers they see in trouble to get. Because the few workers that could swim, well busy, some of them stop swimming and they cleaning fish.
Yeah.
Because they say it's more economical
Yeah.
to clean fish $1 a pound than to go and hold fish.
Yeah.
So obviously we need more people that could swim.
Yes.
So the blue economy,
Mr. P, I think you're not drunk some of us Grenadian, you know, the way you're talking about this swim there.
we can swim. 80% of our people cannot swim.
Can swim too.
So
You
how
can't
could
swim.
how could you speaking about blue economy and you make it one among the nice millions of dollars? How would you get the millions?
Yeah.
Now, how many children from the rural area tell you they want to be a marine biologist?
Yes.
Since it's what, since you said the word marine,
Marine.
say
Water.
no.
Water.
I'm afraid I'll drown.
Yeah. And straight away you should have like 10 scholarships, you know, that's involved in
Marine
that.
biology.
Yeah, in that blue economy. One of the things Mr. Pierre must mention, algae. I was in a fancy restaurant years ago, and they're serving that up, and big money for it, you know, crispy and green and all the rest of it. And I'm
Algae?
sure we have plenty of that.
But we can't swim.
We can swim.
So this is an issue that sometimes I used to watch the politicians in particular bringing people in cargo, boat full and load. I say, Lord, have mercy and compassion on these politicians.
Yeah.
Some of the people are drinking round and round because they're afraid they go dead. If they fall in the water, they cannot swim. You have some mama, they dose. They're in the center of the boat and they're singing. So we have to have programs in our country to teach people to swim.
We do.
And we have to plan for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So you must discuss the issue so there will be buy-in. If the government that be keep your little thing as if it's some high secrecy, because you don't want the opposition, then it don't make no sense.
Yeah.
These things transcend party politics.
Yeah, I'm getting a little impatient with this secrecy that's going on. You representing the people and you refuse to allow the people to have their information. I just think that is such an old colonial mentality to be having in 2025. You know, openness, transparency, whatever happened to that?
Well, it's not some private thing you're running.
Yeah.
It's not a secret service you have.
Yeah.
It's not blues you investigating. You're investigating the blue economy. So come and discuss the blue economy. Let the people know that the blue economy is basically economic activities associated with the ocean, the sea, and the coastal region.
Yes.
That allow resource use while you preserve the sanctity of the ocean.
Yeah.
You don't go there to destroy the ocean, so you're destroying the back of the road and the house.
Yeah.
So it's not. And as part of we process to harness, if there is a good word,
It's a good word.
access to make more, to get money, to create more employment for more Grenadians to be working on the sea that will learn to swim.
Yeah, I know that. But one of the things I hope we do, I really do hope we trap that sargassum before it comes to our
Well, how do you get them to go in the ocean?
They can't
They go
swim.
drunk. They can't swim. So when Deacon say you get net, you have to bring in people. The fisherman will say, me, let me go and tie up in this net.
And you know fishermen can't swim, some fishermen.
Some fishermen can swim. You have an individual, I won't say which boat, the man been fishing for years.
Yeah.
The man fall in the water, nobody about him in jump.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we have to change. I believe we could solve our problem.
Of course.
Why is it the government, the stakeholder, and only nothing greater alone here.
Mhm.
The OECS all them.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if it's the university. They're so conscious of the academic acumen
Mhm.
that they want to use language that
Mhm.
we can understand.
Mhm.
So instead of saying the activities associated with the ocean, the economic activities, the sea, and nearby the sea, the coastal areas, region, that cause us to harness, to make more money from resources while we don't kill the sea.
Right, right, right.
They say blue economy.
Yeah, I don't want to kill the damn Sagason.
Well, they claim that it's some good, a blessing in disguise.
Oy.
So it's important for us to discuss these issues.
Mhm.
And we have to be practical.
Mhm.
And when you hear something now,
Mhm.
Google.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
You have children.
Uh-huh.
Don't let people just use words
Yeah.
that you don't understand.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they're planning to trick you.
Yeah. Yeah. And
When
well,
you speak, the children in school must understand.
yeah.
So yes, you could use blue economy, but say to them, it is the economic activities that are associated with the ocean, the sea, and the coastal region.
Yeah, we want people to understand. That's why we communicate. It's very important. You know, this is not about talking and nobody here and they say, "You bright here? What did he say?"
But it's not an intellectual paper you're presenting.
You know.
You don't write in a thesis.
Yeah, yeah,
You're speaking to people, the farmers in the country.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
You're saying to them you could hold more fish.
Yeah.
You could increase the source up. Not the source up. I like source up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The
What
sea
talk-
moss.
Yeah, the sea moss.
You
Yeah.
could increase CMOS productivity.
And-
Over the next 10 years, we would like to increase the production by over 10,000%.
Yeah.
We hardly holding anything now.
And I'm going to use one for you. I probably used it here before. Nutraceutical.
Of course.
You know, and what that is really is using the products maybe from the sea or close to the sea that you can use, you know, for medicines and different things like that for health benefits.
And then they say CMOS have aphrodisiac in it.
Yes, yes.
That means it
yeah.
causing man blood to flow.
Yeah, yeah. So
And that's the
imagine.
biggest problem in some man.
Yeah.
Blood and flowing.
Yeah. So imagine we mix the sea moss with the bubble.
Oh, yes.
Blood
Sea
flowing
moss
like
and
that.
bubble.
Blood really flowing.
Yes. So you sit down and discuss the issue.
Yes, yes, yes.
And,
yes.
and that is how one of the means of the marketing stunt.
Mhm.
You market CMOS plus Bob and they
Uh-huh.
bring blood flow.
With fresh fish being grilled
You
on the
still putting
ocean.
fish on it again?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We had Fish Friday in Goa.
Yeah.
Does
What
that-
happened to that? That's still going on?
Yeah, it
I
is.
used to like that.
Yeah, it's still going on.
Okay, nice,
So
nice.
all that is blue economy.
Yeah,
Because you get fish, you grill fish, you eat fish.
yeah, yeah.
Sometime when you go in Jerusalem, in Israel, they say you have area where you eat fish. That is
Okay.
the same way in the river
Yeah.
with the thing.
Yeah, yeah,
So we could do that.
yeah,
When you go in Subi's area, Maki,
yeah, yeah.
you should get real fish there.
Yeah,
Obviously, I want a little poke too.
Yeah, yeah.
But you should get real fish.
Yeah. Well, I must say hello. You talked about the Fish Friday, and I haven't seen my good friend Minister Dabrio for a number of years. Dabrio, if you're listening, I want you to know I haven't forgotten you. One day I'll come and look for you.
Again, every time I pass in Victoria
Mhm.
and Goa, that's where the Caribbean Sea is. When I watch the tranquility,
Yes.
and it's nice when I watch it
Yeah.
from far.
Yeah.
I always
And the
should have
water
loved.
so calm.
Yes.
coming-
I imagine synchronized swimming.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
We should have synchronized
Swimming.
swimming.
We should.
We should have, and they have a sports called like volleyball in the water,
Yes, that's nice.
water polo.
Yeah, water polo.
All things.
Yeah.
Instead of that, you see guys using some long bad word like
Yeah.
dipping.
Yeah. Oh,
Now,
God.
if there was in the sea
Yeah.
and they're swimming
We
and they're
must-
walking together,
Yeah, but Mr. Pierre, that's a good idea because that water's so nice and it's warm water.
But if
so
you're looking nice from far, when I'm passing and I watch the tranquility,
yeah, it's
but so I'm
beautiful.
afraid I got drunk if you go inside it. So you have that school near Victoria. What you call it?
Walton.
Walton School. It should have a fish, a swimming club
Yeah,
associated with Walton.
yeah,
They should have water sport,
yeah, yeah,
even in Intercal.
yeah, yeah.
You say in the next 10 years, some of the activities in Intercal go be involved in the blue economy.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So where I got this lunatic economy, blue economy?
Yeah, I don't know. Mr. Pierre, can I ask you a very serious question?
But don't
please?
ask me to go in the sea.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you if you could swim.
You can't see. I went and raised fish pot. I used to go in the sea and raise fish pot.
Oh.
And one day morning they came early, but I don't know, some sixth sense tell me not to go.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the boat capsized in the sea.
Oy, oy, oy.
They said they lost about 60 pounds of fish.
Oy.
And they came back and they asked me for salad. I said, no. While I was praying, I realized I had another activity. But we really need, you see, we could solve our problems in Grenada.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you wonder where they're getting these individuals to put in blue economy.
Yeah.
They seem as if they read a book and they are fascinated by it. They
Yeah.
lack practicality.
Yeah. Well, those people, I'm not kind of strong views on them. Well, my only strong view is that you must come out to the people and meet the people and educate the
A
people.
strong view, lunatic. You know, the blue economy simply means that we can get activities, economic activities associated with the sea, the coastal area, and the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And we must maximize the income while we do it in a sustainable manner.
Yeah.
Let the people know there is a blue economy.
Yeah.
Tell them we are already involved in fish. We're going to see how we could increase the quantum so we could export more fish, bring in more US dollars.
Yeah.
In one time, we're going to
Make it practical. So, and the other thing that we need to do, we haven't spoken on, and that's my fault a little bit. We have all those schooners, Mr. Pierre, and all of those damn schooners need upgrading. They take our people, Trinidad, Grenada, every week. And, I'm not condemning them, but I think we need to invest in those schooners because they've been going for years and years. And some of them, I don't know how they just go and come, but they do it. But I think we need to pay special attention, and the authorities must not go about doing this job with the view of kind of losing people their livelihood. The view should be how can we make your livelihood better, and how can we make passengers sailing safer, and how can we bring goods more efficient to Grenada back and forth.
It always upsets me
Mm-hmm.
when a government come in power and people lose jobs. Because I believe there are so much opportunities to create jobs in a country.
Mm-hmm.
And you should judge a government based upon the ability to create jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're pushing the blue economy and you're likely to get millions of dollars
Mm-hmm.
from these environmental people outside,
Yeah.
nothing is wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you getting this money and you're using this money to not to go in the sea, not to go in the ocean, to go in Gala, to squander.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So we need the authorities that be.
Mm-hmm. We need a good plan, because there's so many subsectors or
But we
different
tell them what
parts.
is the plan already. We're gonna fish, the saucer,
The swimming.
the crab,
The swimming.
the swimming.
Yeah.
So we mechanics,
Yeah.
because you're training mechanics for marine
upgrade the
mechanics.
facilities, the fishing
You
facilities,
upgrade it.
the boats, and then we make sure that they have something on them boats, so when them damn fishermen and them go out there, we know where they are rather than we hunting the whole sea trying to find them.
GPS.
We need the proper GPS
Proper
on the boat.
GPS.
In addition to that,
Mhm.
water sports,
Yeah.
synchronized swimming.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're good for that.
Oh
That's
my
a nice
God,
idea.
man.
Yeah, especially that go outside.
All today, children in school in the ocean
Yeah,
learning to swim.
yeah.
Because you're supposed to train a child
Mhm.
up to 16.
Mm-hmm.
When the child reaches 16, the
Mhm.
80-90% of your children should have a good
Grounded.
basic education.
Mhm.
They should have a good basic education.
Mhm.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
They must be multi-skilled.
Mm-hmm.
They must be flexible
Yeah.
and well endowed with the
Mhm.
characteristic that gives them the competitive edge.
Yeah.
So at 16 years old, they want to be a mechanic, they want to be a technician, they want to get married, they want to be a prostitute. No matter what they want to be, they have a good education that they could take off.
Yeah. Mr. P, I'm gonna make a little pitch.
And how you pitching the, remember the time pitch too.
Yeah. I'll make a little pitch. And my little pitch is this. Sometimes we focus too much on who votes for who. When a government is in power, that government is in power for all the people, not some of the people or the people who vote for you. I could understand the drift, how that has come about. But I really think it's important that information, is cascaded to the left, to the right, going down, etc., amongst the people, so everybody could have the information
Okay.
that they need.
We have a caller on the line and we're taking this caller right at the end of the program. Caller, welcome. Yes, my brother, and sorry, welcome. Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, go right ahead, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Mhm. Mhm. Well said. Mhm. 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 Yep. Yep. Mhm. 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 Mm. Mhm. 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 Yes. Nothing. Oh God. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Yes. Mhm. 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 Yeah. Yep, yep. Yep. Absolutely. Mhm. 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 Mhm.
Ag, thank you, Color. In full agreement with you. We have to stop the blame game. The blame game. When we speaking, we must speak for a school child to understand. And if you say blue economy, when you finish speak, a child must know you're speaking about the economic activities associated with the ocean, the coastal area, the sea. And you want to maximize your profit, your economy from it, and leave it sustainable.
Mhm.
Joshua, I believe the time come for we people to learn to swim.
Mr. Pierre, I believe the time is overdue for you to learn to swim.
I could survive if I fall close to you.
To a cliff.
Yes, we want to thank you again for being with us today. We basically provoke discussion on this program with dare and challenge. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Well, I think we did a good public service job here this morning. I think you keep hitting what the blue economy is. I think you might not realize it, but that would help a lot of people.
Did?
No, I think we did a good public service job here today. By you keep repeating what the blue economy is,
Yeah.
a lot of people gonna understand what it is now. Because you hear these damn people, and it's so cliquish the way they are. Where these people come
Ministry
from?
of the Blue Economy. So you have agriculture, you have health, you have tourism. What do I
Yeah.
Ministry of Blue Economy?
Oh,